ranked person in the military. And she put in extra time. She stopped being negative. She read all the rest of she got my book, read the book, and so forth, applied all these principles. And she ended up getting called down to Washington, and they wanted her to interview for this job to be the president's military aide. And you're the person that carries what they call the
briefcase. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got the nuclear codes. And so wherever the president goes, that's always with him. And so you get to be with the president pretty much, all day long. And she thought, there's no way I'm going to get it. They're going to see that in my file. So she goes over and she says, well, I'm not going to get it anyway. I'm just going to be myself. I'm not going to try to impress anybody. And so she's just having a good time and talking it up and telling jokes and everything. And they decided to pick her because she was so much fun. And so then, she every year the way it works in the military is every year they look at your file and see if they're going to promote you. And if you go 3 years without being promoted, your career is pretty much stalled.
Yeah.
And so that happened to her. But she said, I'm just going to keep doing the work. I'm going to keep doing extra time. I'm going to volunteer for stuff. And then the next year she got advanced and then got advanced again. And eventually she became a rear admiral. And the funny part was, I love this part of the story. She now has to go to her new office, which is the same office that she had to stand in front of this other admiral when he was reaming her out for grounding the boat. So I'm sitting there looking out the window, realizing, oh my God, this is where it all started. And so I call her story full circle. She just literally went from that to that. And I just, we've got lots of people that have taken classes with me. I'll just share one other story. So I'm teaching in the Philippines, in Manila, and this guy comes in and, what happened? I was doing a book signing the night before, and he came and he asked if he could interview me at the end. I said, sure. So he interviewed me, and it was a great interview. And I said, wow, that was a great interview. How long have you been doing interviews? He said, you're my first interview. I said, what?
Wow.
He said, yeah, I was running a restaurant. And then we had this restaurant. My friend and I got into a fight, and the energy got really bad. And so the restaurant went under, and my wife left me, and I'm homeless. I'm couch surfing. I said, how much money do you have in your pocket? He says, well, $3.25. How are you getting home, bus? I said, look, here's $20. Go buy dinner on me and take a Uber home or whatever. And so then he tells me, that basically this is what he's doing. And I said, well, look, come take my seminar tomorrow for free. You're my guest. So he comes. I don't see him anywhere. He's sitting in the back. 3 years later, I come back to Manila. He walks in a suit with this big coat of arms, like on his pocket.
Breast pocket, right?
Yeah, and about 12 other people wearing polo shirts with that same coat of arms, that same logo, And I went, whoa. He says, you remember me? I said, you're the guy who interviewed me. He says, yeah. He says, I was totally broke. He says, right now, I'm now they call themselves the money magnet. I teach prosperity consciousness. I have 2 condos, one at the beach, one here. I have 3 cars. He's wearing 2 Rolex watches, which I don't understand, but he's in the bling. And he was making several $1 million a year. And I said, what happened? He said, I read your book, and I decided I would do everything in it for a year. Every single thing, I was going to do it for a year. And either I was going to waste a year or my life was going to transform. He said, it transformed. He said, just, you'd be surprised. I don't know that anyone's done everything in that book because there's 67 principles.
Yes.
Basically, he's now like the Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins of the Philippines. He does workshops, 600 to 1,000 people show up. He's got a radio show. Amazing.
Wow, those are great stories. So that's amazing. And I know you have hundreds and thousands of more, because I know so many of the people now, being that I've been to many of your sessions and taken your classes and met these, you attract these type of people that are just amazing. And your kindness is very prevalent, and that runs through your students too, I've noticed. So I really appreciate that. She's a peach. I would have never known she was an admiral. And when she told me that, she was teaching one of the classes, she was doing an experiential teaching, which is giving someone an experience as opposed to talking about it. We show you. So she was doing one of those, and she was like, yeah, and I'm an admiral, and my brother's a retired colonel. And I'm like, you're an admiral? And it just like shifted her into a different direction for me. And I love that story. I didn't know the full story about you. And so that was really cool that she got to pivot and stand in his shoes now that she's sitting in the same room.
Right. Amazing.
I remember another story that someone came up to me and told, which was they were in their car. They were living out of their car and they got a hold of your book, and that changed their life too. So that transformational, it's just inspirational that someone can transform just by reading your book. When we come back after the break, I really want to talk to you about what was the inspiration behind putting the success principles in there. But before we jump, how does it make you feel? Like, how does Jack feel about that? How's small Jack, little Jack inside feel about what you're doing on a daily basis?
Little Jack's very happy. I sleep very well. I feel very content in what I've contributed to people's lives and happy about it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing, just amazing. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We're going to be right back with Jack Canfield. You can get more information about Jack Canfield at jackcanfield.com. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne. If you would like to be a guest or lift up your business, product, or not-for-profit, or if you have a question or comment, please email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. Jack, I'm always told I speak New York fast, so I have to always slow that down.
I get that.
So we are back here with Jack Canfield talking about him, his life, how he came up with the thing, everything that he's done, the transformations he's had, the transformations he's allowed people like myself to have. And I love that. So to that, what was your inspiration behind your fantastic book, The Success Principles? I really encourage you to go to jackcanfield.com and pick that book up. But what was the inspiration behind you putting all those 67 principles together?
There were two things, actually. One, I was in bed once, I think it was a Saturday morning. My son was there. He was about, I don't know, 6 or 7. And he asked me a question. He said, and I'm working on my computer, and he's working on his computer, playing some kind of computer game. And he said, Dad, how come our house is bigger than everyone else's I know? And I said, well, I've been more successful. Well, what's that mean? Well, I wrote these books. I've been very successful. He said, well, how come you're more successful than most people? And I said, well, I think it's because I live my life by a set of principles. And he said, well, what are they? And I started to tell him. And after a while, he got bored. And he said, okay, thanks, Dad. And he went back to his game. But I was starting to think, like, well, what are all the principles I live by? So I literally made a list. And it was about 115 principles. And I thought, maybe if I write 3 pages per principle, I could do a book and share these principles with people. And I got very inspired by that because I thought I really wanted to start, and I was teaching these in my seminars, and the people loved them and getting all the kind of successes we just talked about before the break. And then what happens is I thought I really want to get more into spiritual things, meditation and intuition and inner guidance and fulfilling your purpose and things like that. And so I'll write this book. I'll put everything I know about success, and I'll be done with that chapter of my life. What I didn't realize is when you write a book, everyone wants you to come and talk about the book you wrote. So I'm still talking about it. This was like 2005 it came out, I think. So here we are, 20 some years later, I'm still doing it.
Still talking about it.
Yeah, now I do spiritual things and I teach. I've integrated more of that into the work. But that was really the impetus. I thought, could I write a one-stop shop book? Meaning there's lots of things to know in different fields. How to be a successful doctor might be different than how to be a successful lawyer, but how to be successful in any area of your life, relationships, finance, health and fitness, making a difference in the world, contribution. Those principles underlying that, they're all the same.
Yes.
And so I thought if I could put all that in a book and someone could read that book and they wouldn't have to read anything else other than in their specific field, what would have to be in there. And that's really what that book was about. Yeah. And I like to say, most people are not successful because success is like a combination lock. If you know the combination, the lock opens. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, female, male, graduated from college, didn't graduate from high school. If you know the combination, the lock opens. Problem is some people are missing 1 number, 2 numbers, and you have them in the wrong order, it's not going to open. So some people are doing the right things, but doing them in the wrong order, the wrong way, at the wrong time. They're not getting what they want. So literally, I see it as a system. It's a system of success. And the thing about a system is it always produces a consistent result. You know, your apple pie recipe from your grandmother, if you do it exactly the way it's stated, preheat the oven, don't use molasses, use brown sugar, whatever, then what happens is you get the same apple pie.
Yeah.
And that's really what I wanted to do, is teach people. And we've got literally millions of people now who have told me they are successful because of the book and the seminars we do.
Yeah, it's a foundational structure that's very, very strong as long as you follow the steps and you take responsibility. And I love that. The taking responsibility is it's the easiest thing because it's the most control you have. And then the rest, a lot of that, the other things are mindset. Like you, I've integrated a lot of different modalities into what I do. So I love the essential oils. I know you added that to what you do. Tapping, I know you do that as well. Meditation, setting space. But how did you come about? Is this your experience, or did you come up with this? You had mentioned that doing that experiential, that going in and teaching, speaking about it, and showing them, meeting each of your people where they are. How did you come to that?
Well, when I was running my retreat center in Massachusetts for, I don't know, close to 5 years, maybe, we had some trainer come in every weekend, except maybe Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, running a seminar. And the things they did that were experiential were the ones that had the most impact on me, whether it was a guided visualization, a partnership process, learning muscle testing, kinesiology, testing your arm when you say, I can't, and your arm goes weak, say, I can, your arm stays strong. People go, whoa. I just learned one the other day, Lorianne, it's so cool. You take a guy, you put him in another room, you give him a pendulum, like just a paper clip on a piece of thread. And you say, I want you to think it's going from A to B, right to left, right to left, right to left. And pretty soon it starts to go right to left. Now you tell the people in the main room, when he comes back, we're going to ask him to think and do right to left, right to left. But I want all of you to think forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. So he's going A to B, you're going C to D. So he comes in, doesn't know it's going to happen, starts to do it. It's going this way. And then I just do a little thing like this. He doesn't see it. The whole group starts doing the other way. And within a minute, it's going the way the group wants it to go. And he's like, cannot make it not do that. And so that little experiential exercise, when you do it, everyone goes, oh my God, the power of a group intention is amazing. And so I love it when you learn it because you experienced it, you remember it because it's you, it Velcros to your consciousness. And so literally every time I would see anything, read about it, watch it on YouTube, whatever, I watched this guy hold up $100 bill and say, who wants it? And everyone just sits there, and eventually someone gets out of their seat and runs up and gets it. I thought, that's cool. So I'll hold my book up and say, who wants this? And then eventually someone gets it, and they come up and we talk about, why the rest of you sit there? What did you tell yourself? Why didn't you take action? Well, that's why you don't take action in life. So literally I've got hundreds of those, and that's, I think, the way everything should be taught. We've now got a curriculum called Self-Esteem in the Classroom for teachers that allows them to learn a lot of these techniques that they can do with their students in school as well.
Yeah, I love those. That the paperclip one, that's amazing. That's really cool because that also goes to vibration, and that everything is vibrational around us, and so we can choose those higher vibrations, which are happy feelings, and the lower vibrations are the not so happy feelings. So that's why, sometimes people come into a room and they suck the life out of the room because they're in this low vibration, and just like everybody was doing well till you walked in. So we can change that vibration. And I love the collective mind. Another experiential that I love that you do, which is you put everybody on one side of the room and have them get to the other side of the room, but they can't do it the same way. Not everybody has to do it a different way. Besides the adrenaline that runs through when somebody takes your idea, you're like, oh God, I got to come up with something else before you go. It's great because at the end you say, did everyone get to the other side of the room? Yes. Did you do it the same way? No, there's not one way to do something. There's not one right way, as long as we get to our end goal. I love that too, because it's inspirational as well as a huge aha moment. So those experientials are so wonderful, and the way you teach us how to teach is something that I'm so inspired by. And to be able to teach other coaches and train other coaches how to utilize your success principles is great. And you don't have to be a coach or want to be a coach. Just pick up the book and read it. It will help you be successful. Sometimes you need a little bit of accountability. Accountability is real important to success, I believe.